As you can probably tell from the title of this video, I do not agree with manifestation as a Christian. So I'd like to explain why. First of all, what is manifestation, for those that don't know? Manifestation has become very popular and trendy in our society, and it's credited a lot when things happen for people that they find beneficial. It's the idea that you can attract whatever you want in life, whether that's money or the perfect relationship or just any kind of success. And you do this by focusing your thoughts and your energy on it. People believe that this is how you manifest. First, you think of what you want. Then you believe that it's going to happen to you. And then finally, you act as if it has already happened, and then it will come to you. Now, supposedly, this works. And I've heard a lot of people say that it works. And I even used to be into manifestation, actually. I used to think it was a good thing. I don't think it is anymore, but I used to. I even have a book on manifestation that I have yet to get rid of. And it talks a lot about wanting the universe to do things for you. But it also says, oh, but if you want to, like, if you believe in God, I'm not quoting it, it doesn't say like, if you want to, if you believe in God, you can replace the universe with God when you ask for things, you know? It says if you believe in God, you can ask God instead. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think that's right either if you're manifesting. So when you manifest, you use affirmations a lot. This is repeating the same thing over and over to help you believe it. Like if you want, let's say I wanted $10, you would say, I want $10. I want $10. I want $10. There are thousands, probably millions of videos on YouTube of manifestations that you can listen to while you sleep. Never done that. But some people will listen to it while they take a nap or something. So it'll say, you will do this, or I am smart, I am, so that you can get what you want. You may say, but why is this bad? Why doesn't God want me to have what I want? Basically, it all boils down to manifestation can give you what you want, but God will give you what you need. What you want is not always what is best for you. The thing is, if you practice manifestation as a Christian, whether you want to or not, you are putting yourself or the universe or believing in yourself over believing in God and thanking Him for things when they happen and trusting in Him to do something. You are trusting the universe to bring desires to you instead of asking God for what you want. Even people that say that they manifest with God's help, they tell God they want something and then they get it. Afterwards, I have heard them say, I manifested this. I manifested this. I've seen posts of girls saying, yes, oh, I love my boyfriend. I manifested him. Oh, yes, I love my job. I totally manifested it. And people will do vision boards. There's vision boards on Pinterest for manifestation. It's a whole thing. So a lot of people think that manifestation is a new thing, like a recent thing. But the idea that if you believe that something is already yours, it will be yours, is actually found in the Bible. Jesus talks about this concept in Mark chapter 11, verse 24, where he says, therefore I tell you, everything you pray and ask for, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Now you may say, okay, so then why is manifestation wrong if Jesus says that you can believe that something will already be yours and it's yours? Because Jesus then goes on to say in the very next verse, and whenever you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive him, so that your Father in heaven will also forgive you for your wrongdoing. So Jesus is talking about prayer. Now, Jesus gave us instructions on how to pray. Jesus tells us how to pray in the Bible. Jesus tells us how to pray in Matthew chapter 6, verse 5. These are the instructions that Jesus gave on how to pray. He says, whenever you pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, because they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by people. Now, a lot of people, when they manifest, they'll be talking about, ooh, I'm manifesting this right now. I'm doing this right now, as like a pride thing. Yet another difference between manifestation and prayer. Jesus then continues, but when you pray, go into your private room, shut your door, and pray to your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. When you pray, don't babble like the Gentiles, since they imagine they'll be heard for their many words. So another thing about manifestation is I've seen things on manifestation telling you to be very specific, ask for specific things, draw out the detail, make sure the detail is correct when you ask for it, write it down in a manifestation journal and say, I want the guy that I want to be this, I want him to have this hair color, I want him to be this tall, all these things. It's just another difference between prayer and manifestation. Prayer, God knows what you need, and he will answer depending on what you need. And you don't even have to stretch it out and give all these details. You can tell him what you're wanting, and he knows. And he especially knows what you need. Jesus then says, don't be like them, because your Father knows the things you need before you ask him. Emphasis on the word need. Notice how Jesus doesn't say, God knows the things you want before you ask him. This isn't about like, he's a genie and he's going to give me anything I desire. This is about God knows what you need. And that is much more beneficial to you in the long run than the things that you want. We are human, and our human knowledge it can only take us so far. God is perfect. God knows. He is wiser than any of us. How are we supposed to know what's best for us? The Bible says, trust in the Lord your God with all your heart and lean not onto your own understanding. Just because you're feeling emotions and you think this is what's right for me doesn't mean that it is what is right. Jesus then tells us the Lord's Prayer. This is the Lord's Prayer. Our Father in heaven, your name be honored as holy. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Notice how Jesus says your name honored as holy, and the Lord's Prayer also, in other translations, he says, hallowed be your name. He's asking that you give respect to God and recognize his name as holy. Manifestation doesn't really do that. It's just about what I want. It also says your will be done. The Lord's will be done, not what I want, but what he wants, his will, if it is God's will. Some people might be thinking, okay, but if I just manifest using all the rules in the Bible, then what's wrong with that? Nothing. But then it's no longer manifestation. It's prayer. Just call it what it is. It's prayer. Why would you, as a Christian, call prayer something different, some term that belongs to the world, when God called us to pray as his children? I think that the devil loves to mix up the concept of manifestation and prayer. He loves to say, yeah, you can change out the universe with God or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. But it's not. It's not the same thing. God is God. There is no one above him. The universe is not at the same level with God. God created the universe. God is above all. He is the creator. When I was into manifestation, there was a YouTuber, internet personality, that I would listen to for motivation. And she is known as like the manifestation queen. She's known to get all her desires, everything she wants comes to her, and she will say, I manifested this, I did this. She ended up meeting a man and they got married. She said, I met this man and he's the right man for me. I manifested him, okay? This woman is known to show that manifestation works. Well then, sadly, that man ended up cheating on her when she was 4 months pregnant, which is horrible, and my heart goes out to her. That's just an awful thing. And I'm not bringing this up to say, oh, look at her, haha, she got what... No, absolutely not. That's horrible what happened to her, and I'm very sorry for her. But it does show that when we put our trust in ourselves or in the universe, even if we already get what we want, it's not what we need. You might get that person, but God knows who that person is. You might get that job, but God knows what that job is and what it can do to you. Now, the woman I'm talking about, she is Muslim, so she does believe in praying, and obviously I'm Christian, she's Muslim, so we're going to have very different beliefs, but she has talked about showing gratitude to God. But also she will talk about how people need to be selfish and put themselves first, which goes against the Bible, which I believe in. I believe the Bible is God's holy word. So, of course, I believe that when you go against the Bible, such as practicing manifestation, things are just not going to work out for your good. I recently posted a short about how just because things don't happen the way that you wanted them to doesn't mean that God isn't looking out for you. He could put a roadblock up for that thing for a reason. So in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, Paul writes, "We know that all things work together for good to those who love God." So just because something might not be the way you want it now doesn't mean that it's not going to come to fruition later on. Having faith is a big part in it. I don't have anything against the people that practice manifestation or wish anything but the best for them. However, I am against manifestation itself as a concept, and I think it's always going to end up doing more harm than good. It makes me think of a genie. You know how genies in old stories, they'll give you what you want, but there's a catch? Like, I'll give you the house of your dreams, but there's going to be a lot of problems with it, and it's going to have toxic mold in it. There's always a catch. I'll make sure nobody thinks that you're ugly anymore, and then you just disappear, you're invisible, and nobody can see you anymore. It's kind of like that. It's like, yeah, you can work towards what you want, but unless you have faith in God, I don't think it's going to work out. Of course, as a Christian, I think that. So the answer, again, is no. I don't think that Christians should practice manifestation. I think that they should practice prayer. I know that new concepts and trends can seem really fun and exciting, but just remember who is responsible for everything and who we really need to trust in. Just because something is not the trendy thing to do does not mean that it is the wrong thing to do at all. Hey, I love you guys, and of course God loves you way, way more, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.